What's up, guys? Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing us our Week 2 team builder, taking on ZagarTulip and the New Jersey Sobbles. First time in a while that I don't have a logo for someone. I have his logo for the thumbnail, but I had to copy and paste it from a doc, and he has not sent his logo over at the time of me filming this, and I also haven't asked, just because I thought that I could get it that way, but I can't. So unfort there, I guess you could say. Sorry, I put the live editing there. So let's talk about his team. He's got the Z Heatran, Conkelder, Z Flygon, Uxie, Rotom-Mow, Ambipom, sorry, Z Jumpluff, not Jigglypuff, Mega Gyarados, Tapu Fini, Hoopa, Exploud, and a Selgor. He brought a really interesting Exploud set last week with Icy Wind, which was kind of curious. I believe it wasn't locked in. I could be wrong. Priority options on his team, he's got Conkeldurr with Mach Punch, Ambipom with Fake Out, and a Selgor with Water Shuriken. Hazard setting, he's got the Heatran with Rocks, Uxie with Rocks, a Selgor with Spikes and Toxic Spikes. I don't necessarily see Toxic Spikes coming against me because I have a Grounded Poison, and he's got Tapu Fini, but there you go. Removal options, he's got the Flygon with Defog, Rotom with Defog, and the Fini with Defog. I didn't bother to check if Jumpluff gets Defog or not. I don't think it matters. 4 times weaknesses, he's got the Heatran 4 times weak to ground, Flygon 4 times weak to ice, as well as Jumpluff 4 times weak to ice, Gyarados 4 times weak to electric before Mega Evolving, if you can catch it on the Switch. It is Mega first turn though, so I don't feel that's necessary. And then Hoopa is 4 times weak to both Dark and Ghost. So I should have a few of these things covered. His normal type is Ambipom, which I'm not super duper worried about, but I am slightly worried about. In terms of my Gourgeist, but that's also fine because I have a better check to it in the back here. In terms of my team, this Gourgeist, realistically, it's a way to pick off the Hoopa. I shouldn't be bold, by the way. I should be impish because I'm running Shadow Sneak. I originally had Giga Drain on the set, and so I don't need that special attack. I need to attack, so that's fine. I should be able to deal with the Hoopa really well with just Shadow Sneak with a little bit of attack investment. In fact, I haven't calced it, but let's calc it for the sake of calcing it, just because we wilding out here. I'll move on while the calc is loading up here, but okay, now it's here. So Gourgeist, and I am Gourgeist large this week, by the way. No, I'm not. I'm regular Gourgeist. Could just be regular Gourgeist. Base 90 attack, but it's base 65 HP. Yep, that's the one I am. So 56 here, and we're against a Hoopa. I'm also not adamant. Same quirky because it doesn't really matter. Hoopa. So my Shadow Sneak is doing 85 to 100.9 to 0 bulk Hoopa. I could obviously change a few things around, but I really like the defensive investment, and I like the speed investment. This is pretty much a secured kill after Rocks. It's an 87.5% chance to OHKO after Rocks, and it's a guaranteed kill after Spikes as well. So, yeah, there's not much there. Obviously, I'm obviously not living a Shadow Ball from Hoopa, timid Hoopa. With no boosting item, just obliterates me with a Shadow Ball. But if I can get the chip, then Shadow Sneak will always go first, right? So it's just something to keep in mind in the back. Subseed is really effective here, especially Subseed Protect is a really effective way of breaking down the Tapu Fini. And at least wasting turns of terrain, as well as just getting good chip on a lot of stuff. He doesn't have a Wish Passer on the team, and his waters don't get recovery. In fact, what even does get recovery on this team? It's like Pain Split Rotom-Mow, which is, granted, it's a very difficult Pokemon for me to deal with and switch into this matchup because I'm not bringing Ferrothorn, but I think that he'll have to be HP Fire to cover that, so I should be able to go into Zapdos relatively safely on the Rotom-Mow. But it looks to me like nothing gets direct recovery. You're looking at like Drain Punch from Conkeldurr, most likely, and Pain Split from Rotom. So I'm not super worried about all of that, and Leech Seed is just really good passive chip against a lot of his team. We'll be able to scout items with Gourgeist too, which is really cool with Frisk. Next up, Gliscod. I'm bringing a Rocky Helmet Gliscod. This is a super easy check to Mega Gyarados for me. Super easy check to Mega Gyarados. It's also a really easy check to Flygon and Conk. None of them can really do that much to me at all. I'm obviously really scared of the X-Cloud. In fact, the X-Cloud is like kind of the biggest threat to my team based on what I'm bringing. So I will end up having to sack some stuff. I might want to move some of my investment on the Gorgeist to Spadef, and if not, just make it all Spadef instead of Fizdef. Careful. Yeah, I do actually. Well, now that I'm looking at it, I do think that's a little bit better. I should actually be able to live Shadow Ball from Hoopa now. 164 careful. I have the calc pulled up already. 164 careful. Yeah, I do actually live a Shadow Ball from Timid Hoopa with no boosting item now. Obviously, if he's modest, he's going to kill me probably every time. No, actually, it's a roll if he's modest. It's a roll in my favor if he's modest. And if he's a boosting item, then I'm dying anyway, so that's pretty irrelevant. But yeah, Glyspod, it's meant to be a revenge killing option for the Gyarados. It's meant to piss things off really effectively with like Leech Life spam. And First Impression gives me a way to blow back the Rotom in a position where it's maybe about to sweep me. Same with the Flygon, the Selgor, the Uxie potentially, the Jumpluff potentially as well, and the Hoopa. Hoopa is really not going to want to take a First Impression. It's got very poor physical defense. And so even though it might not be super effective at all, it's still really good there. Again, he doesn't have recovery options on his team, so Rocky Helmet can punish him really effectively. This is my my primary Ambipom switch in, to be completely honest. And I can punish the Ambipom as well. So obviously with 12 Pokemon, there's only so much I can prepare for. My defense loses to like Acro Jumpluff, which would be really annoying. And there's not much I can really do about that. So I've kind of got to hope for a few things there. I've got to hope that he's not running max speed for Lowland Persian. I've got to hope that he's not speed creeping Keldeo just like Zach was last week. And then I can probably, at the very least, speed tie it with something in the back that I've got. So that's Glyspod though. I'm just EV'd completely randomly here on the damage calcs. I didn't really calc anything in particular with this. Nidoking, I'm running a Life Orb set with Nidoking. I can break basically all of his defense really easily with Nidoking. And sort of set myself up to win the game with a Scarfer. Something like spoilers, I'm Scarf Keldeo. Scarf Keldeo doesn't really have good checks here. If the Finny and the Gyarados are whittled, or if neither of them even show up, then Keldeo actually has 0 checks on the team. In terms of defensive checks, I should say. Hydro is really good against everything else. Yeah, so Ice Beam is there for the Rotom in particular, but it'll also do a crap load to the Jumpluff and the Flygon. Oh, pardon me. There's really no other reason besides super effective hits, because Dual Stab is going to hit everything else better. Sludge Wave is a really good way to break through Finny. Stab Sludge Wave just obliterates that thing, and then Earth Power will obliterate basically anything else. Sludge Wave is there also for the Uxie. And it'll do more damage to the Rotom as well, but it's not going to do more to the Flygon, which is why I have Ice Beam there and hit the Flygon. That's pretty much it. Just in case he overpredicts with Flygon and doesn't click EQ against me for whatever reason. So Rock's there as well. Really good chip against, well, basically anything, because like I said, he doesn't have recovery, and his removal options aren't great, or they give me a free switch into something, which is also fantastic. I'm speed tying the Tapu Fini with this Nidoking, and Life Orb is just gonna. I'm doing tremendous damage to most of his team, and I'll outspeed mons like Heatran anyways. I'm bringing offensive Zapdos here with Expert Belt, static, just for the Conch and the Flygon. This can switch into both of them still, and I don't need the Expert Belt. While it is nice, I don't need it. I have Heat Wave there for the Rotom. In fact, I believe that's the only reason I have Heat Wave. Should be the only reason I have Heat Wave. I've got HP Ice for the Flygon, and then Thunderbolt will hit everything else. HPS will also hit the Jumpluff, of course, as well. But yeah, Thunderbolt for everything else. Then I got Roost as well. So this is a really effective Pokemon at just like breaking his team down. Like Nidoking, Zapdos just break really easily. I'm speed tying the base 100, which is Flygon, with my Zapdos. And I forgot to write that down. Classic me, Zapdos ties Flygon. And then, yeah, just Expert Belt helps me secure a couple KOs, especially on the Flygon. It helps me secure KO with HP Ice, and it'll help me against the Rotom with Heat Wave damage, as well as beating down the Gyarados and the Finny with T-Bolt. Scarf Keldeo in the back. I've got HP Electric for the Finny and the Gyarados. I thought about running HP Poison. It would have been something where I could click it against the Finny as well as the Rotom potentially, but I don't see a scenario where either one of them really switches into what I want to click with Keldeo, right? Except maybe Rotom going into Finny, and in that case I could just predict it and click HP Electric. Secret Sword, Hydro Pump, and Surf. Surf just for really good damage late game if I don't want to be risking Hydro misses, and Secret Sword hits a lot of stuff really well. It's an effective way of breaking through the X-Cloud, as well as the Rotom and the Flygon, I think. Should be it. Ambipom as well. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Basically, I would love to click Water Spam with Keldeo this week, but it's kind of a backup check to the Mega Gyarados, so I can Secret Sword through that. If it gets the Dragon Dance up in my face, I am speed creeping Flygon, although I have nothing to hit it with super effectively. It shouldn't be a problem because I've got moves that'll hit it really well, and he shouldn't be able to one-shot me. Even if he's banned, he shouldn't be able to one-shot me, I think. A little bit of HP on there as well. Last but not least, I'm bringing a second Scarfer. Barack the Abomasnow is making its debut with Blizzard, Woodhammer, Earthquake, and Ice Shard. So I'm a very physically biased Abomasnow. Ice Shard is a really good revenge killing tool for the Flygon and the Jumpluff, just in case they get out of hand. I can't outspeed a Dragon Dance variant of Flygon, so it was helpful for me to have Ice Shard on the set. Revenge kills, anything really. Woodhammer is pretty spammable for the most part. Obviously, I don't want to do it too much. Heatran is likely to switch in to Abomasnow if he's going to switch in anything, and so I can catch it with an Earthquake really easily. Papa Shuka potentially, and then Blizzard is also really spammable without the water types around, so again, I'm not sure what he would do there. Like, his grass resists are essentially Heatran, Rotom, and Jumpluff, and I have coverage for all of those. A Selgor technically too, but a Selgor is just going to absolutely drop to a Blizzard. So yeah, I've got basically I have coverage for his grass resist, so Woodhammer should be spammable. From there, you know, who knows where it goes. I've got to be really careful of Mach Punch from Conkeldurr, but luckily I have 4 fighting resists on the team this week, so I don't have to be that careful about it. I also do have fire resists in the Golisopod and the Keldeo to cover for the Abomasnow this week. In terms of what I'm not bringing, Ferrothorn gets trapped by the Heatran or just straight up dies to the Heatran. It's kind of setup fodder for the Mega Gyarados, kind of setup fodder for the Flygon. I think he's going to have to rock the Fire Punch on the Flygon anyways. It's a little bit of defog bait for the Rotom. I can't really touch Rotom back without like Toxic. Luckily for me, Rotom isn't affected by Misty Terrain, but there you go. Ferrothorn's obviously a really good switch into the Tapu Fini, but that's kind of about it. I'm a little bit worried about an X-Cloud. It's definitely going to have fire coverage, and it's like bulk up fodder for Conkeldurr. So, you know, it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great either. It could definitely punish Mons pretty well, but they're going to have fire coverage for it. Slowking is pretty garbo here. You know, it's really easy setup fodder for my Gyarados. It's pivoting opportunities for Rotom. Well, while it could check something like a Heatran, I'm not super worried about that. And it also loses to Hoopa, which I'm scared about. DNC is a solid rocker option here. Thought about bringing it, but it loses to double water, plus the Jumpluff is scary, plus the Flygon is scary, despite me being a fairy. So there's a lot of weird things with DNC there. Loses to Heatran. Alolan Persian would have been nice maybe for some pivoting, and honestly, just the threat of Alolan Persian might stop the Hoopa from coming at all. Thought about bringing a Taunt variant for like a Rock Slide Tran or a Rock Slide Uxie, but in the end, I just decided to go with no removal at all, and so I'm just going to try and pressure him offensively and rock with the no removal. I didn't really have room for it unless I wanted to give up a move on my Zapdos. I could, by all means, I could do that. I could actually get rid of Heat Wave on the Zapdos and put Defog, and maybe I will do that. Because HP Ice is still going to be doing solid damage to both Rotom, Flygon, and Jumpluff anyways, so I shouldn't need the Heat Wave, and I'll feel a little bit more secure with Defog. Obviously, I'd rather have Rapid Spin on this team because I'm rocking Spikes and Rocks this week, but I'll just leave it as is. So, Megazord X is another Pokemon that I actually thought was pretty good here. Megazord X definitely has a really solid matchup, especially against something like a Rotom. You know, I can't be burnt by Will-O-Wisp, especially if I'm in Mega Form under Misty Terrain. That would really suck for him. I don't really need to click a Dragon move against pretty much anything. You know, I can click Dragon Claw against Flygon because it's levitating, so Misty Terrain won't nerf the Dragon moves that way. The way that Misty Terrain works is it nerfs the Dragon moves against a grounded target. So something like Mega Latios using Draco Meteor wouldn't necessarily be nerfed against another Latios, but it would be nerfed against like a Druddigon, for example. And then Diggersby, I also considered bringing. I just thought that the threat of Conkeldurr was a little bit too much for Diggersby, and I didn't outright need it in this matchup. Could have been solid as a setup sweeper, but Mach Punch in the back is scary. Pardon me. That's going to be all from me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the team builder, and I'll catch you guys for the match.